Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe and the notification bell, because what I do here is all about Cardano and the Cardano ecosystem. So today it's taking a look at another project building on top of Cardano, and that is Ardana. So a few different people reached out to say I should take a look at Ardana. When I did, I liked what I seen there, and I contacted the founder Ryan, who we jumped on a call. I recorded the call, which you're going to see in a few minutes as well, and timestamps below for anyone who wants to jump straight into that. So we go through all about what the project is, what they're trying to do, where they are right now in terms of development, as well as how they found building on top of Cardano with things ongoing like concurrency, which they do have a solution for. So we go through all of that type of stuff. And I suppose full disclosure on this as well, this is not sponsored in any way. I reached out to them, and taking that further, potentially I will be getting involved in their private sale as well, because after what I've seen and talking to Ryan, I think there's definitely something here and lots of potential in the project. So what actually drew me into it, or what is the project? So we do go deeper into it in the call, but as a high level, the things that stood out to me first are when I look at the team. First off, you look at the website, you look at the white paper, you look at all of the material they've put up here, and it is miles ahead of some of the other projects we've seen out there. I'm not saying all of them, but you see a lot of sites out there, poor site, white paper doesn't mean a lot. You look at the team, you can't track who the team is. You look at this team here, a lot of really good names here, lots of experience, between a mix of experience and youth. You can see links to most of their social profiles as well, or to their GitHub for the developers, which is important. When you come down to the advisors as well, lots of transparency here, seeing some good names there too. Investors, big names in the investor deck, which is always a good sign. And one thing I do like here is if I hover over these, I can click into any of the investors and get more information on who they actually are. It takes to the investor's website, but lots of times I see that investor logos are just thrown up on a website, and it's they're really there just for show. But when you go in here, you can actually go into these guys and research them to see that if these guys see something in the project, there potentially is something there. So what is that something then? So if we take a look at, this is the white paper. I'm not going to go through that now. So they're looking to be a decentralized exchange, but not in the kind that we're used to seeing right now. The big race that's on with Cardano to be the first decentralized exchange. So they're going to have a decentralized exchange, but it's going to be different. We take a step back to what I see as a massive feature that they're going to have. In some lights, the easiest way to talk about it is that it will be like a lending and borrowing protocol. So I can put up some of my ADA as collateral, and then I can take a loan out in not USD, in their stablecoin. So then I can use the stablecoin for whatever I want. But the part that really drew me in on this is that when I put the ADA up for collateral on the loan, what happens is that gets locked into a smart contract, but they don't take control of it. So it's there that if they ever need to pull it, if the value of the collateral drops and they need to cover the loan, they can do that. But I also hold control as well. So wherever I have the ADA staked, it stays staked. So I continue earning my staking rewards even though I'm using that ADA as collateral, which for me is absolutely massive to be able to do that. So there will be interest on the loan as well. So you do have to pay a small amount of interest, but as long as the ADA price stays fairly stable or whatever way it goes, that should easily cover what the interest rate is, and potentially you're still making out with more funds at that stage, as well as having the stablecoin then, that you can use that for things like yield farming or providing liquidity somewhere, or earn an extra income on that, as well as getting your staking rewards as well. So for me, this is huge, even on the side of not having to cash in my ADA. So now again, everyone needs to check this in their own jurisdiction, and I need to check in my own, that if I'm not actually cashing in the ADA, then I'm not actually realizing the gains on it. So I'm not open to capital gains tax. So in that way, I like that side too. So the other side to this is a decentralized exchange as well, but as I say, not the exact same as some of the other ones that we see out there. So it's going to be for a stable coin, so swapping one stable coin to another, or swapping similar assets one to one as well. So again, there's fees and stuff there. So if you hold the Dana token, there's ways that you can share in the fees on that, and you can even get paid out in ADA. But we get into that in the call, so I don't want to keep covering the same information there. So lots of that really stood out to me. If I look at so that's there, Medium, you can go on there, and lots of updates. This here as well stood out to me in terms of transparency and in terms of professionalism. So this is their roadmap. So it's not just like little pictures on a graphic. They actually have it here exactly how and what stage everything is at. So again, you can go through this and you can see exactly where they are and what's planned, what is to come. So lots of, and even you can come in here, you can't see any tasks on this, but this is one of the most transparent roadmaps I've seen in terms of being updated and where it is. But again, we do get into that in the call. So look, I'm going to just jump into the call. Any questions that I haven't asked in this, please do leave them down below and I will put them to Ryan or the team, or maybe even they will come in and answer them too. If you get value, please do give the video a like. As I say, leave a comment and share it out there if you think others would like to see this information too. Thanks for watching, guys, and now let's jump into it. Okay, so today I have Ryan Matovu from Ardana here to talk all about his project. It's one that a few people have told me that I needed to check out as one of the projects that could do a lot in the space on top of Cardano. So Ryan, you're very welcome to the channel.
Pleasure to be here, Paul.
So look, let's just jump straight into the content. On a high level, what is Ardana? And we'll break into the different areas of it then.
Yeah, so effectively what we're building at Ardana is a decentralized stablecoin ecosystem for Cardano. So to get into our offerings, it falls into two sides: the decentralized stablecoin itself and the decentralized exchange. So we effectively have an ecosystem which enables people to both utilize a stablecoin, one of the first offerings that we'll see on Cardano, but then also to facilitate the transfer back and forth between stablecoins in the most efficient manner. So our stablecoin will be decentralized in the sense of being backed by on-chain Cardano native assets, whether that be ADA or other Cardano native tokens. And users will be able to deposit their assets into the vault and mint stablecoins against those assets, almost effectively taking out a loan against those assets. And that loan would come in the form of our stablecoin. So that side of the ecosystem really functions as both a stablecoin, which is important in any DeFi space as a unit of account, or a way to transact and invest further in the ecosystem, and also a stable representation of value in the form of the US dollar, which will be our initial stablecoin offering. But it also serves the purpose of a lending protocol where users can take leverage on top of their ADA assets and invest wider into the DeFi ecosystem that we will see flourishing on Cardano in the not too distant future. And then the other side, the decentralized stablecoin exchange, is made up of liquidity pools of stable assets. So what that means is we have liquidity pools of various assets which maintain the same price against each other. So that could be swapping from one stablecoin to another, or swapping between variations of wrapped Bitcoin or wrapped Ethereum, for example, from wrapped Bitcoin to synthetic Bitcoin, or wrapped Ethereum to synthetic Ethereum. And this is important in any DeFi landscape, whether it be for users, right down from retail to the larger players, and also for projects who would build on top of that and utilize our liquidity pools, which will be the most efficient way to transact between stable assets.
Okay, so let's kind of break down the different areas on this. You said about a stablecoin that's backed, rather than being backed one-to-one by the US dollar sitting in the bank or something like that, it is a basket of assets. So is this similar to, we've seen Charles talk about DJED, I think that's the stable coin backed by assets. Is this a similar type of model, or what way does that work for you?
Yeah, so the Degen model is very interesting, and we really look forward to that at Ardana. We do anticipate that it's a stable coin that will be offered on our decentralized exchange, so that's exciting. But in terms of stable coins in general, it falls on the other end of the scale in terms of from the asset-backed offerings that we see in the space and the algorithmic offerings that we see in the space. So the Degen model is closer to the algorithmic form of a stable coin, which places less reliance on assets within an entity or an account, or assets on chain within vaults, whereas ours is really focusing on the stablecoin being backed up by collateral, which can be verified on the blockchain, whether that's ADA or other Cardano native tokens. And to also add on to that, as we understand the crypto market being volatile, an extra assurance within our system is that the stable coin is over collateralized. So at any one point, there's always more collateral in the vaults than there are stable coins in circulation. So that gives assurance for anyone trading with our stable coin that it's always backed. They can see that on chain, and it's always over collateralized with more assets in circulation. So it's able to weather the storm through any market conditions, whether the value of those assets are increasing or decreasing, depending on the crypto market. So yeah.
Okay. So I suppose you have centralized models that we have the likes of Celsius, where I can go in and I can deposit my ADA and I get a stable coin, or I get something else out. There's lots of similarities with that. So if I was to use, I would be definitely in favor of using a decentralized option rather than something like that. So I put my ADA in and I get the stable coin out. I get your stable coin out. Do I lock the price of my ADA on the day that I put it in, or does it still fluctuate? I just over collateralize the loan. I get the stable coin then and pay interest, or what way does that actually work? Do you take custody of my ADA, or do I have it?
Yeah, so in terms of the ADA that you deposit into the vaults are effectively smart contracts where the ADA will be locked in those vaults once you mint stable coins against it. So the minting of stable coins is taking out a loan, and to regain access to those assets, you would then pay back that loan. On top of that loan, you'd pay a small fee, which would be the stability fee, which would be interest accruing from when you take out that loan. So another interesting quirk of the system that we've built in is the capability for any user interacting with our vaults to actually remain staked to the stake pool that they were staking with before. So it's not a situation where, because your assets are in a vault and no longer in your wallet, that you stop earning your staking rewards from the stake pool. You actually continually earn those rewards, which is an exciting offering, because what it enables as a result is for you to lock your ADA or deposit it into a vault in stable coins, take out that loan, and your staking rewards, which are accumulating in your wallet as they usually would do, would be in line with roughly what the stability fee is for your loan. So it's actually an indirect way to gain access to a interest-free loan. Your staking rewards effectively pay off the loan, the stability fee, for taking out those stable coins. So this is an interesting thing where we're leveraging what's capable on Cardano in terms of the staking pool mechanism, and building that into our ecosystem, which enables us to have interesting collaborations with stake pools where we can go to them and say, here is an ecosystem where you and your delegators and anyone staking with your stake pool can interact with Ardana, our ecosystem, and still remain staked to you.
Okay, I really like that, as if this all comes to the market, I'll definitely be a customer on that side, because for me, I suppose it means that I can keep staking my ADA. I earn the interest, or I earn my rewards to cover the interest payments, depending on how the price of ADA does. If it goes up, I might still be in profit there, as well as having a free loan. But with the stablecoin, then I could go off and use that in any, I suppose, yield farming or anything I want to do there. I have the stablecoin. So instead of just earning once, I have the option to earn in multiple different ways, and I suppose choose my own risk level then on what I do with the stablecoin.
Yeah, yeah. And we're really excited about that as well. And this is something that's only really capable on Cardano in terms of that staking mechanism where users can stake and help support the network, but also interact within the wider DeFi space with their ADA. So we'll definitely be leveraging that going forward.
Yeah, I really like that. It's something I heard Sebastian from DC Spark mention before, that it's possible to keep staking even when you're in a smart contract. So I like that. I can't wait to see that actually in action. So there's other part then, you have your DEX, but it's not like a DEX where we see there's a huge race at the minute to be the number one DEX on top of Cardano, but your DEX is a bit different than what the rest of the market is going for. So essentially you're not really competition in that.
Yeah, yeah. So what we're building is something that can work alongside those exchanges and not really pose competition. There is competition in the sense of volume flowing through the space, but our exchange has its own use case within DeFi, and that is for providing the most efficient way to swap between stable assets. So to give you a perspective of the level of efficiency we're able to see, that's really seen in the amount of slippage that users would lose when making large trades between stable coins. So we like to throw around a figure of 50 to 100x increase in capital efficiency in comparison to the standard constant product market makers. So those are the likes of Uniswap and SushiSwap, and we will see various alternatives to those building on Cardano, or looking to take a similar space in the ecosystem. But our model is different in effectively, now it's more complex. However, in terms of its usability, users can come onto our platform, interact how they're used to in terms of swapping between one token to another, one stablecoin to another, depositing into the liquidity pools, adding liquidity, removing liquidity. So the only real difference that they'll see is that they will be losing a lot less in terms of slippage. And that's for users, but also for projects as well, which will build on top of us. Having access to highly efficient, stable asset liquidity, whether that's stable coins or wrapped Bitcoin to synthetic Bitcoin, is very important for other projects building in the space, whether that's a lending and borrowing protocol who needs a landing place for their stablecoin assets, or whether it's to help out with their liquidations in the back end. What we're building at Ardana with our decentralized exchange is really an infrastructural point within DeFi, as opposed to just a standalone project within its own niche. And that's what we're really excited to be building. We're communicating with community members, from retail traders, the larger traders, developers, and other projects building in the space, because they'll be building on top of us and leveraging those liquidity pools.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good position to be in for Ardana, is when you are providing some of the underlying, I suppose, the architecture, what other projects need, that rather than being competition to a lot of them out there, you can have a lot of different partnerships and help the project grow on its own as well. So foreign exchange then, I've seen that mentioned. Where does foreign exchange come in? Can I swap my euro to USD or GBP, or what part does that play in there?
Yeah, so that's really where we'd like this ecosystem to eventually end up in, is the back end for a decentralized foreign exchange system. This is something we haven't seen so far in blockchain tackled to a large scale. And the approach that we're taking is leveraging what we're building within our ecosystem and scaling that up. So, with the stablecoin vaults, initially, you'll be able to mint DUSD, which is our US dollar pegged stablecoin. And down the line, we will also offer other currencies, whether it's the pound, the yen, the euro, Swiss franc, effectively any currency that's in demand. We're building out capabilities to offer a range of different currencies. And then, having the decentralized exchange on the other side of our ecosystem is perfect for that, because that enables the transfer between those stable coins back and forth between each other. And as that grows in scale, it'll be a very attractive offering as we move into the traditional space in terms of having access to a cheap, efficient, reliable way to swap between, from one currency to another. And that's where the fiat integrations become important, and the partnerships in the traditional space do become important as well, where we can effectively move to a system where a user can go from one currency to another all within a few seconds, as opposed to the lengthy process that it can take in the traditional space, especially when you're moving around large amounts of capital, whether you're a trader or an institution or a government. Will form that point of infrastructure in cross-border transactions.
Yeah, it's great to hear that there will be other options as well for stablecoins. So I suppose USD is generally the most popular one out there, but to see the likes of Euro for myself in Ireland here, it's great to see there'll be more options like that coming in. So you guys will have your own token as well, the Dana token. What part does that play in the ecosystem, or where does that fall in it?
Yeah, so it has two purposes. Our Dana token will be both a governance token, and that's for all parts of our ecosystem, both the decentralized exchange and the stablecoin vaults. So it's important building a decentralized system to have that extend towards the decisions and the directions that the platform will take going forward. So we will have a system where that power is in the hands of the token holders themselves, who can stake that token and gain access to voting rights across whether it is a certain direction to take our development, or whether it's changes in certain parameters within the system to get an accurate view of the market sentiment on whether we should increase or decrease the stability fee if the market has shifted. Those are the sorts of decisions that the holders of Dana will be able to influence. But still, as with any ecosystem, it's always important to have that central team, which is us at Ardana, who will be driving forward, the core development, and where necessary, we'll be integrating governance, into areas where it makes sense for the token holders to vote on this, and it makes sense for us to hear their insight into whether we should make this change or not, whether this value should go up or whether this value should go down. So that's one use of Dana. The other use is through essentially generating yield for the holders. And this is sustainable in that it comes both in the Dana token itself through our incentives program, but also more importantly through rewards from the profits of our platform itself. So both on the stablecoin vaults and on the decentralized exchange, a portion of the profits will be flowing back into a profit pool, and then Dana token holders are able to stake their Dana and earn a percentage of those profits. And yeah, it seems like an ideal system to effectively provide a yield bearing asset to the users of our ecosystem, which can continue to do that for the foreseeable future. And an interesting point on top of that is because within our ecosystem, we do have access to a decentralized exchange that can efficiently swap between various stable coins and assets in ADA itself. we're actually able to pay out those profits, those rewards in ADA, as opposed to the tokens flowing through our ecosystem where the profits will be taken from. We're actually able to pay out the rewards back to the Dana token holders in ADA. So it's a very interesting proposition for anyone within Cardano to be able to buy Dana, stake Dana, and then earn ADA. And that will be all available within our ecosystem.
Okay, yeah, I like the sound of that. There's lots of thought has gone into the token. I suppose I look at so many projects out there, and sometimes it's just teams use the token as a way to raise funds. But it sounds like you guys have thought about this a lot. That there's a lot of utility there, as well as the governance side is great. But as an investor, I always like to see that there's a side to it as well to earn from holding the token. Anything that brings passive income is always something that I lean towards. So a lot of great things there. Where are we in terms of development now? Where are ye in terms of development in this roadmap? What's done so far, or what's nearly done? Or...
Yeah, so we've been in development for some time now. And in terms of where we are now, we're most of the way through our development. So we're in a situation where we're already bringing in, we've already brought in auditors to have a look at our platform and assess that the code is doing exactly what it's intended to do, and that it's a safe platform for our users to use. So it's been an exciting period in a sense of being able to be at the stage where we're working with our third-party auditors and hearing their insight and moving forward with that. And we will continuously update the community on those developments. And yeah, in terms of timelines, we're targeting a Q4 launch for our platforms, and that is both the stablecoin itself and the decentralized exchange. Both of those will be coming out in Q4 of this year. So not too long, not too long.
Yeah, it's all really starting to come together now for Cardano. And I suppose, how have you found developing on top of Cardano? I know getting people with experience, Haskell, Plutus, is a bit of a challenge right now for lots of teams out there. How have you guys found it? And the big concurrency challenge, or whatever people out there like to call it at the minute. How has all of that been for your team?
Yeah, that's been exciting. And it's interesting you mentioned the concurrency problem. It's very topical now, as we've seen on Twitter and various other platforms. And to focus on that, I think, to be clear, DeFi is possible on Cardano. DeFi will be scalable on Cardano. And at least we think within our team there's going to be more interesting things happening within this ecosystem. And the concurrency problem, I wouldn't even call it a problem per se. I'd just call it not necessarily even an issue. It's just a different way of constructing a blockchain. With Ethereum being a first mover in smart contracts, it did pave the way for following platforms to follow their account-based model. Cardano is one of the first blockchains and the first at this scale to go with a different model, the extended UTXO model. And the concurrency issue of sorts is just a quirk of building on a different system. And it's the teams who embrace that challenge and just come up with different solutions of how to construct their platforms. So, for example, us within Ardana, we saw the concurrency issue very early on, and we quickly came up with a solution to work around that, or we'd rather like to call it an alternative way to construct a decentralized exchange, and to construct a platform which has liquidity pools. So our model, at least in the basic concept of it, is parallelization, where you're able to run multiple instances of the same contract simultaneously. So in terms of scalability going forward, it really is only down to how many of those smart contracts instances we run simultaneously, whether that's 20,000 simultaneously, whether that's 200,000, whether that's 2 million in the long term as we see Cardano scale even further. So in terms of scalability, we're not actually restricted. We actually have more control in terms of how we can make our decentralized exchange grow. And we're regularly in contact with many other projects building on Cardano, many other decentralized exchanges, all coming up with their different solutions, which do tend towards a very similar landing point of parallelization. Obviously, there's various different quirks and different ways in which they've constructed certain technical parts, but they're all solutions. And they're all different ways to build a decentralized exchange on a different type of blockchain, in comparison to what we're used to on Ethereum. So I'm actually very excited that this is getting more attention, because although we've had some criticism, what we're actually, what the result is going to be is more people are going to be educated about different ways, to build a blockchain, beyond Ethereum and other similar types accounting model. There is also an EUTXO model, which we're seeing from the likes of Cardano, and something similar, with Ergo and their blockchain as well, which is another exciting blockchain platform in the space. I think that this is room for more education, more learning about what Cardano is doing, more exposure in terms of the deeper technical aspects which make building on Cardano special. So we're having an exciting time in Ardana. It's a fairly large team. There's 22 of us, and we're looking forward to how things will go.
Yeah, I suppose that's a similar thing I'm getting from a lot of projects, is that we're not going to do things exactly as they've been done on top of Ethereum. And look, that's not a bad thing. There's been lots of mistakes, lots of problems down through the years as well. And the EUTXO model brings a lot of advantages on the security side. It brings some challenges in finding new ways to do things, but from talking to teams, there definitely are lots of solutions out there as well. And you just mentioned the team there. So how did the Ardana team come together? Looking through your site, it seems to be a fairly packed out house. Looks like a lot of quality there. How did this come together?
Yeah, so towards the beginning of this year, so January was when we were founded. The actual conception of the project was much earlier. And as development kickstarted, it was a team of 5 of us, within my network, and effectively our rationale was to just go and find the best Pascal developers that we could. They can get acquainted with Plutus and understand it on an intuitive level. And then additionally, alongside that, because we're building a very complex system, especially on the DEX, it was important to have a lot of mathematical expertise within our team. So we like to have a joke within our team that some of our developers are more operating as mathematicians as opposed to developers. But it just it gives an idea of the makeup of our team. And our developers have all gone through the Plutus Pioneers program as well. And it's a very experienced team in many different areas. Some members, the younger ones like myself, who've been in the space for a while. We have older members as well with many decades experience in their respective fields, and that's exciting. It's a very balanced team, from all around the world, and it's exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's one thing that stood out to me when I was looking at the project was the team that was there looked to be a lot of experience, a really good mix there. So again, all the links will be below for people to check out themselves. And we're running on time here now. So I know the question after this is, we've talked about launch Q4, but the Dana token, when, where, how can people get their hands on it?
Yeah, so that will be in Q4 as well. So very soon, in the coming weeks and months, is when people will finally be able to buy Dana, and that's exciting. So in terms of where that's going to happen, we'll be doing part of our public sale through Occam, the launch pad on Cardano, and another portion will be through another method, and that's still to be decided, but we'll provide more updates to the community. And whether it's trading on a decentralized exchange or on a centralized exchange, we'll have various different ways for anyone within the space to be able to buy Dana. So we'll keep everyone updated.
Okay, yeah, so I'll put the links down below, and maybe in around the time of the sale, when the details are more clear, you can come back on at that stage to first off let us know where development is, and as well as that, how people can get involved. So thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this has helped people get a better understanding of the project, as well as clearing up some of the FUD that's out there with Cardano can't do DeFi. So if there's anything else you want to leave us with, or you can go now.
Yeah, just for everyone, feel free to join our community and just get involved with the ecosystem, ask questions, and we're open to anything, whether you're a user, a community member, or a project, a stake pool, even. We just want to build more connections in the ecosystem, and we look forward to finally releasing what we've been working on. So yeah.
Great. Well, thanks very much for coming on. Anyone who is here for the first time, don't forget to hit subscribe. Leave a comment down below if there's any questions that we've missed out on. Give the video a like and share it out there if you think others can benefit as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Ryan, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.